Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday, August 12th edition of the Do Nothing Project, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the time in the city I'm in right now in Toronto, so up in Canada. And happy to be here with y'all. If you've never been to the Do Nothing Project before, this is an opportunity. The Wednesday one is an opportunity in the middle of our busy days just to sort of check into a slightly different headspace, to relax and slow down, and just do nothing. And that's what we do here. So it's good to see all the people signing in here in the chats. Good to see Andrew. Thank you for moderating, my friend. And thanks to all the regulars. So I have an announcement, sort of a sad announcement. This is going to be the last Wednesday edition of the Do Nothing Project. We're keeping it going on Sunday nights, which is the far more popular night. This was sort of something we did emergency measure style, just to give some people some extra support during this crazy time. And it's not like we don't still need the support, but it's getting logistically more complicated for me with my schedule and the internet situation going up north, lots of reasons, but it doesn't really make sense for now to keep doing it for us. It's just a bit of a too hard. So we're gonna this will be the last one for Wednesdays. We'll be doing the Sundays still, and of course I archive the Sunday ones. Well, they're all archived, so if you miss the Sunday, if you can't make it for whatever reason, if you like the midday one, you could always do that one at midday the next day or something. So it's a bit bittersweet for me. I really like the midday one. I like the Wednesday one. I feel like there's a lot of overlap in the communities, but I know there's some folks here that can't make it on Wednesday. So I just want everyone to know that I really appreciate being able to connect in this way, and hopefully we'll still be able to do it through the Sundays. And I'll also just have to see how everything evolves, and maybe there'd be a way to reintroduce a midweek one again in a couple months when things get a little more settled. So that's sort of the announcement. And as far as a theme for today, I did have an idea of something I wanted to explore, something that's sort of an idea that's been important to me. It's this, I don't know if you guys have heard of this. He's this very well-known Romanian philosopher of religion. His name's Mircea Eliade. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He's Romanian. He's sort of one of those mid-century heroic thinkers, polymaths, who was sort of mastered every, discipline that he seemed to go into. He was a philosopher of religious studies, genius. He really redefined the field of religious studies in some ways. Sort of this towering figure that changed how a lot of people thought about what religion was and practice was. And his most famous book was called The Sacred and the Profane. And in that book, he kind of presented this idea of what he called, he contrasted these two modes of time: this more profane or normal time, the time of the everyday, the busy time of doing and being and running around, and the way we normally do and experience things. And he contrasted this with a more sacred time, sometimes he called in illus tempora, the Latin phrase, sort of this time out of time, or this was this kind of pre-modern time, this time of myth, this time of ceremony, this time of ritual. And this idea was that, I don't really understand fully how he talked about it in many different ways, but I guess where it's been important for me is sometimes I think about practice as this other form of time, that insofar as we're deliberate about shifting into this different mode, we say, okay, I'm gonna do something a little different for the next 25 minutes that I'm practicing. So we can even try this right now. It's like this is something that's gonna be markedly different. You start to slow down, you kind of prepare your space, you get your body arranged, you put the accoutrements wherever you want, you turn off your devices, like you're already moving into this more deliberate, slow space, and you're starting to shift things. And it's like we prepare ourselves to enter this slightly different mode. And of course, practice, and it kind of starts to feel like that at the beginning. It can feel like there's our crazy normal day-to-day life, and then there's this mode where we're just sitting and being, and it kind of feels a little bit different. Feels almost like it's time out of time. um, and of course with practice there's this interesting blending. It may seem that these things are quite different at the beginning, but part of point of practice is to begin to bring some of that slowness and sense of the whatever you want to, whatever your word for it, sense of being connected, or sense of, I like the word sacred, but some people find it a bit too religious or weird. But this sense of the existential importance and meaningfulness charge of the moment, we start to bring that into the everyday. And similarly, the as we do that, the practice time itself gets less exotic. It becomes more, there's something more satisfyingly ordinary about it. And so that idea of the sacred and the profane begin to merge, the idea of the special and the ordinary. So just some ideas. I'm not sure if they're at all they land for people, or if they're even interesting, but it's something that I like to sometimes think about when I sit into a practice. Oh yeah, as I sit and I get settled, it's sort of like I'm deliberately moving myself into this different space. So that was some ideas. I'm going to guide a practice around that, and then we'll see if anyone if it has any shares about that after the practice, or I'd be curious about hearing people's experience of that, or how they might articulate that, or how, if that lands or not. But we'll use the practice to give us an experiential sense. So, yeah, happy to be here with all of you. Let's meditate. Okay, so as always with the do nothing project, if you have your own version of doing absolutely nothing, then you are absolutely welcome to do it. You're your own teacher. So what do you need to do to just sort of, I guess, shift into this slightly different mode? This mode that's less focused on doing, on, the checklist, on getting things done, and more focused on just settling into being, feeling our bodies, our breaths, dropping into the moment. And there can be, for me, there is this sort of thing that happens at the beginning where I set this intention, and then I shift by beginning to, I notice my posture. I stretch up, kind of stretching up on the inhale. This long out breath, beginning to get settled. So the out breath can be this place too where we sort of check in and see, well, are we bracing? Are we still reacting to things the way we usually do? Or can we go into this space where we're more open, more relaxed? So as you breathe out, you can soften the forehead, and the jaw, the shoulders. And the first really big shift here is this shift into, genuinely accepting whatever is happening in our immediate sensory experience. So that means any imperfections in the environment, sounds you kind of wish weren't there, or aches and pains in the body. We take this stance, this very sort of dignified stance of welcoming it all, not needing things to be perfect. And that openness is a kind of being. It's a kind of opening our being, actually, expanding out in this sort of brave way to let everything be here. And some people like to stay right there. They just find their awareness, they open, and then they just exist, kind of percolating. And for others, that's also the background, but it may help to have a little bit of structure in the foreground, meaning just to pay attention to some sensation, something to give attention, something to do. So that might mean feeling the breath, the sensation of the breath, or feeling the whole body sit, or sort of listening to the sounds around us. And these are, of course, are different home bases. So you can choose something now, or just be in that more open space, and then just be and see what happens. Good. So, you know, helpful to be patient here. Sort of the sense of not having an agenda, just letting things settle in their own time. And the more we bring an attitude of appreciating the simplicity of this, not exotic at all, just being, sitting, breathing, hearing, aware the whole time. this idea of time, out of time, time outside of time somehow. And the only way that makes any sense to me is when I start to get really still and kind of very delicately bring my attention to as close as I can to the exact moment a sensation sort of appears. So the nearest end of a feeling of a sensation or a sound as I try to get really slow and kind of send my attention into that, or it may also be just the sending it into the quietest or softest part of a sound or a sensation, not in a tense way, but just in this very delicate way, and just letting that moment kind of open up for us. And of course, there's still going to be distractions and thoughts and sounds, and maybe none of this makes any sense. It's all right. It's just something we explore in the center of our experience, like a center line right down through awareness. Good. Every part of this experience is welcome. It's sort of like a snapshot of the moment, this frozen block of time where everything has a place. Every sound, every distraction, the sound of the cicadas, traffic, this quiet sound of your own breath, the thought that appears just then, the feeling, the atmosphere. Each piece has a place. Sort of the whole tableau is perfectly balanced. That's the direction, the appreciation. You get distracted, you just come back, beginning anew, beginning anew, always beginning again. Maybe not such a big thing if we just dispense with the idea of beginnings and ends altogether. And there's just this place, this now stretching out, everything permitted. And through it all, a sense of, or an understanding, I guess, of being connected. All these other minds and bodies dropping down into the same exact moment, wherever they are, in all these different locations, geographies, and it's the same moment. And even if you're watching it's later, it's the same moment. Because that's the moment for us now. Yeah, everything in its place. Maybe finishing with a short appreciation practice for this community, for everyone sort of synchronized right at this moment, this practice, as we're doing it right now, as we experience it later, the way this web of connection, everything in its place, every connection valuable or as meaningful as every other. It's all of a kind, kind of breathing in. You breathe in, sort of like breathing in a sense of being connected to that network, breathing in your that relationality, and then kind of breathing out your care back through it, breathing out your gratitude, and just saying thank you. And you can extend that out to whoever you feel like you want to practice feeling a bit of thanks for, anyone else in your hub, your community, locally, distant. And breathe in appreciation, breathe out thanks. It feels good just to rehearse, to practice knowing you're connected. All of us sharing the same moment. Yeah. Thank you. Good to sit with you guys. Hopefully that wasn't too weird, mystical, schmystical. I don't really give a shit. I like going there. I mean, what the heck's that's the point. The point is whatever the point is. We need ways to try to connect to how awesome and weird and magical this freaking existence is. You don't need to apologize for liking that. That's why I like guiding meditation. One of the reasons. I think that orientation is really healing. I mean, it's what they talk about on the crisis of meaning, or crisis of meaning, this big buzz phrase in academia or around certain academics. That's kind of what they're talking about. We don't know how to feel meaning in our lives anymore, beyond our accomplishments. It's like there's a deeper meaning, the meaning of just being here. Anyway, mystical blathering. So, what was that like for y'all? Thank you, everybody. I know most of you got to get back to your jobs, which makes sense, or your whatever your lives are going on today. Thank you so much. Good to see everybody. If anyone wants to put a report down, yeah, Tina's saying We banish the magic from life. That's sad. Agreeing with this Sarah saying the sacred may not answer any of my questions with words or suggestions, but when my thoughts, words, actions line up with it, I just know. Totally. Yeah, it's not. It's kind of wordless. Marty saying he felt very deep rest. That's amazing. Oh, Jeff asking about merging meditation with running. Maybe I'll come back to that, Jeff. Uh, just stay on this theme here. Um, so Tar saying, likes it when I do mystical, don't apologize. Great if I did it more. I'll do it more. Rena saying, felt like puzzle pieces flowing in and easily fitting in place. Yes. Yeah, thanks, Rena. That's a nice analogy. Yeah, you gotta try to find metaphors for it. That's why the idea of everything in its place, or I like this idea of, well, yeah, I'll just keep reading reports. Joseph saying, thanks for the Wednesday sits. He'll miss the meditation because he's across the pond. Yeah. Well, it may come back. I mean, the main issue is just actually the main issue is that we just lost our apartment probably, so we're kind of homeless again. And we got this baby, we don't know where to go. And like the main thing I can probably go to right now, we're gonna be here for a bit still. We're trying to figure it out, but up north, I'm gonna try to treat it as a writing retreat. And I just don't have really any internet up there. It's crazy. Just a very weak cell signal, not enough to upload these live streams. So maybe once we get settled again, we can do some kind of midweek thing again because I do love them. But I'm sorry for if you guys. I know some people come to depend on it, but nice. Haley saying likes the mystical fairy stuff. Sherry saying the session felt like an indie short. Had to wrestle with not resisting the weird thought. Ronit is saying thank you for the community. Christine saying the practice really helped with the feeling of anxiety I was carrying, feeling connected, released in the pit of my stomach. Any tips on helping when anxiety is at its peak, panic attack? Yeah. Well, it's a little bit around the theme of being your own teacher. You kind of got to figure out what works for you. Um, Different things work for different people. This is sort of the question of like, what's your medicine? I don't really have panic attacks anymore, but I did when I was younger for a while. I had some anxiety, and what would work for me sometimes was just I needed to discharge the energy. So going for a run or just running in place or just kind of, you know, um, getting it out that way. It's hard. I'd be curious what other people say about what they do. Um, Sometimes just knowing that I'm connected to other people, reaching out, talking to a friend, or doing a meditation on knowing that I'm connected, trying to find some grounding sensation. This is the kind of point of getting absorbed. One of the points that you can get absorbed in this feeling, and it can be kind of protective. So it's not like you're getting rid of the anxiety. It's sort of still there in the background, but the more you put your attention over here, it kind of drains out the real estate. But you kind of got to try a few different practices and see what helped. I mean, it sounds like what we did today really helped. So this is something you can kind of do again. Wow, lots of comments here. Nancy saying sacred is love. And for camping retreat, Paul. Thanks, Cheryl. Chris. Yeah, Sarah. I call it mystery. Unknowable, but infinitely explorable. Oh, Annette, thank you. I'll come to VA. I can crash 3 extra rooms since the kids have gone. You never know. Or we may end up we may go to a new spot. Ronit, genuine moments of feeling connected to this group in a very alive sort of way. Found it wonderfully challenging and rewarding. So happy. Laura Lee saying one door closes, another opens. Hey, Marie. Yeah, sometimes find the sacred, others not. It's hard to balance the alert, curious, outward, then distracted part of my mind, and then the focused, peaceful inner, but then drifting off, sleepy part. Yeah, it is sort of a balance. Jeff loved the shit out of the meditation today. Um, Asking if we can keep the snowball water still while jogging. Yeah, just experiment with your jogging practice, Jeff. See what helps you kind of get in the zone, what rhythm. Jeff's talking about this, the practice of like imagining all the snow settling kind of as a relaxation settling. And I definitely do a practice like that when I run, where I just feel whatever's going on. It's less that it's settling and more that it's moving. I think that's helpful. HL asking if it's possible for Lily or Andrew to lead Wednesday for a bit, or use vintage DNPs for the YouTube, facilitating rather than leading. Yeah, that's an idea to process. Well, I'll think about it. HL, we'll think about it. Appreciate the suggestion. Candace diving in the beauty of doing nothing. Yeah. Maria, some good advice for panic attacks. Slow breathing, grounding in the senses. What can I see, hear, feel, taste, smell in the moment right now? Yeah, absolutely. So that's a kind of classic one, is getting out of the head and grounding in the here and now. I mean, that's really well said, Marie. Thank you. Cheryl says she appreciates the mystical speak. Makes sense. I'm glad. Marina saying connecting with her dog relieves anxiety. Nice. When you guys say VA, is that Vermont? Yeah, or Virginia? VA. Lots of breweries there. I like both those states. Okay, more advice around panic attacks from Catherine. Yeah, Virginia. Sweet. Sorry for not knowing that. I'm from Canada. All right, everybody. Good to hang out. Very nice. I really appreciate all of you. It's fun to connect. And I will be away this Sunday. Someone else will be guiding this Sunday. Andrew's going to be guiding finally this Sunday, which we've been waiting for. And then I'll be back the following one. And we'll see what we can do for Wednesdays. But for now, we're definitely taking a little short break here. So bye, everybody. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Milan.